The First Purge is the latest installment in the Blumhouse franchise, and as we state with every Blumhouse movie, it's either really good or really bad. This being the later of those options.
The First Purge is a prequel, and an answer to the most obvious question in the franchise's premise of why would anyone actually want the Purge to happen? And what the filmmakers offer in terms of answers will leave you underwhelmed and slightly annoyed.
Instead of a lot of cool death sequences full of horror and suspense, it basically just became Rainbow on Staten Island. This movie is divided into 3 parts. The slow opening 20 minutes of backstory and exposition of the experiment, the start of the Purge, and the end of the Purge. The middle section wasn't so bad. There was tension to what would happen when the Purge actually starts, and then there was actually some suspense with this character named Isaiah who wanted to kill this other guy named Skeletor, but then they just almost immediately abandoned that to focus on this Dimitri guy with his rainbow skills. And this happened a lot in the film. I mean, you would actually have this cool, interesting plot, and then they would just abandon it.
You could almost tell that the filmmakers were throwing in as many spooky back alley setups and crazy costume characters as possible to use them for Halloween Horror Nights at Universal.
The first half of this movie was boring, ungodly boring. But the ending, it did have a ton of action. You know, you have Dimitri's gang fighting off mercenaries on Staten Island, Dimitri fighting down a blacked out hallway in the projects, blood and guts everywhere. It was great for about 45 minutes.
A lot of the action in the movie reminded me of other shows or movies. You know, like the hallway scene, for example, had elements of Oldboy and Daredevil.
I don't think anybody expects comedy going into a Purge movie, but they did throw some giggle bits here and there. Mostly toward the end when the, one of the characters becomes the comedic relief, almost breaking the fourth wall to say what the audience is thinking about all the craziness that's happening.
Toward the end, I think the filmmakers actually started to realize how ridiculous this movie had gotten, so they just started to throw in all this comedic relief. The plot wasn't making sense, and the goal of answering questions about the Purge it made the movie seem even more nonsensical.
Not only was this story horrible, the filmmaking elements were just as bad.
The unintentional crappy CGI exploding body parts were hilarious though. I mean, I guess the filmmakers thought that every time somebody's shot in the head it just explodes. There is a ton of action at the end, so just Netflix it later and, skip to the end. Half a movie gets half the points. 5 out of 10.
There were moments that could have been good, but they just ignored them. Great setups with no payoff. 4 out of 10.
It's hilarious when the body parts explode, but not really a comedy. 2 out of 10.
The concept was cool the first time, but now it's just ridiculous. 2 out of 10.
I can't find anything I enjoy about the First Purge. 0 out of 10. We here at Who's Review give the First Purge the overall rating of Run for Your Life. The premise of the Purge series, it's not for everyone, but at least it was an interesting concept. The first time. This being the 4th installment and a prequel, it didn't serve up anything original and wasn't that entertaining. Now, they tried to answer questions, but it just made everything seem dumber. And the only redeeming quality of this is that it served up as a preview for the Purge Scare Zone at this year's Halloween Horror Nights. Well, there you have it. That's a review of the First Purge. What do you think? Have you seen it? Are we way off, right on? Let us know in the comment section below, and as always, we'll check it out and respond. If you want to stay up to date on all things Who's Review, make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and most importantly, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We thank you guys for checking us out here at Who's Review, where everyone's a critic.